Today we will start with the last class of helminths. It is Nematodes. Nematodes are said to be the most worm-like of all helminths. This is because it generally resembles the common earthworm in appearance. Nematodes are elongated, cylindrical, unsegmented worms. Now let's see their general characteristics. They are cylindrical or filariform in shape, bilaterally symmetrical. And they are dioecious, means they have separate sex. The male is separate than female, and usually the female is usually larger than a male. They vary in size from microscopic to large as lead pencil, like Ascaris. You can see by naked eye, or meter in length. They are cylindrical, non-segmented, and tapered. They have short life cycle. They have chemoreceptor sensory organs, head and tail. Classification of Nematodes according to the habitat of an adult worm. Maybe it is intestinal, small intestine like Ascaris or hookworm, or large intestine, Enterobius vermicularis, or TRICHURA, or extraintestinal, it will be like trichinella in mussel, or Boucheria in lymphatic. Now, how we can get infected with Nematodes? Mode of transmission of Nematodes to human, or how we can acquire infection. Maybe by ingestion of embryonated eggs through contaminated food or drink, like Ascaris or TRICHURA or Enterobius vermicularis, أو ingestion of encysted larvae like trichinella, أو skin penetration like the hookworm or filariform, or through bite of arthropod or insect vectors like in filariform. We will start first with Ascaris lumbricoid. Its name was coming from lumbricoid, means earthworm, as lumbricus meaning earthworm in Latin. It is most common of human helminths and distributed over worldwide. Many people are infected with Ascaris lumbricoid every year. The Ascaris lumbricoid or roundworm is the largest nematode parasite in the human intestine, so its habitat is the small intestine. 85% is live in jejunum and 15% in ileum. The disease is Ascariasis, and the mode of transmission, as we said before, by ingestion of embryonated egg. The infected state, embryonated egg, and we will now see the difference between the male and the female of Ascaris. As you can see here, they are large cylindrical worm with tapering end, the interior end being more pointed than the posterior. The interior is more pointed than the posterior. They are pale pink or flesh colored when freshly passed in stool. The mouth at the interior end has 3 finely toothed lips, 1 dorsal and 2 ventrolateral, as you can see. Male worm is little smaller than female, as we said before. It measures about 15 to 30 centimeter in length and 2 to 4 millimeter in thickness. Posterior end is curved ventrally to form a hook, while the female is larger than male, measuring about 20 to 40 centimeter in length and 3 to 6 millimeter in thickness. Its posterior extremely straight and conical. This is the difference. Now let's see its egg and its features in the next slides. Ascaris lumbricoid has 2 types of egg, passed by the worm, fertilized and unfertilized egg. The fertilized egg are embryonated and develop into the infected stage. Okay, the unfertilized egg are non-embryonated and cannot become infected. It is very important. Figure A is unfertilized egg of Ascaris. As you can see, it is elliptical in shape, narrower and longer, while figure B is fertilized egg, round or oval in shape, always pale stained, golden brown in color, as you can see. Life cycles of Ascaris lumbricoid have only one host, it is the man, and the infective stage, as we said before, embryonated egg. Man can get infected through eating or drinking foods or vegetables containing an infective stage. When the swallowed egg reaches the duodenum, the larvae hatch out. They penetrate the intestinal mucosa, enter the portal vessels, and are carried to the liver, as you can see. Then they pass via the hepatic vein, inferior vena cava, till reaches the lung. After development in the lung, after about 10 to 15 days, the larva reaches alveoli. Then it will be carried out to respiratory passage to the throat and are swallowed. Then it will develop into adult in the upper part of small intestine. They become sexually mature about 6 to 12 weeks, and the gravid female start laying egg to repeat the cycle again and again. This figure shows us diagnostic stage and infective stage of Ascaris. As you can see, diagnostic stage is the main worm or adult worm, and also the fertilized egg, while the infective stage only the fertilized egg. Diagnosis of Ascaris lumbricoides: you can detect the egg, diagnosis the egg in feces, and as we said, we can detect adult worm, can be seen by naked eye in stool or sputum of patient or X-ray. Larva can be seen also diagnosis in sputum or in gastric washing. We can make serology by ELISA. Blood examination, eosinophil may be seen in early stage of infection. Treatment of Ascaris: use parenteral palmate, albendazole, mebendazole, ivermectin. All are effective for use. Now we will study Enterobius vermicularis, or pinworm, or threadworm, or all common name for Enterobius. Formerly it was called Oxyuris. The name Enterobius vermicularis means tiny worm living in intestine. Okay, it is worldwide distribution. Habitat: adult worm are found in cecum, appendix, and adjacent portion of ascending colon. Now we will see the morphology of adult worm in the next slide. As you can see, the adult worm are short, fusiform worm with pointed end, looking like bites of white thread. The mouth is surrounded by 3 wing-like cuticle expansions. The female is 8 to 13 millimeter long. She is much longer than the male, as we said before. The egg is colorless, not bile stained. It floats in saturated salt solution. Has a characteristic shape, as you can see, being elongated, ovoid, flattened on one side and convex on the other side. The eggshell is double layered and relatively thick. The egg contains a tadpole shaped, as you can see in the figure. How can we get infected by pinworms? Mode of transmission may be by anus to mouth through contaminated fingers or vomits common in children, or through food and drinks, especially if the food handler is carrier to pinworm, airborne or by inhalation. Auto-infection: gravid female, after laying the egg in the preanal area, goes back through the anus to the large intestine. This figure is diagnostic for transmission of pinworms to human. You can see more than types to get infection with pinworms. The diagnosis of Enterobius vermicularis or pinworm by anal swab or Graham Scotch tape method. It is specific for Enterobius, or NIH method. We can detect the egg under fingernails by NIH swab or Scotch tape method, or detection of adult worm in a stool sample. For treatment, we use parenteral palmate, albendazole, mebendazole, and piperazine. But it is necessary to repeat the treatment after 2 weeks to eliminate all worms. And another concentration we have to put in our mind, that all the family has to be treated for pinworms. Now, TRICHURIS, TRICHIURA, or the human whipworm. TRICHURIS means hair-like tail. This is in Greek words. This name is not quite correct because it is the interior end of the worm that is hair-like and not the tail. The name whipworm is more appropriate for hair. It is worldwide distribution. Disease is trichuriasis. Mode of transmission by ingestion of embryonated egg. Infective stage embryonated egg. And the habitat TRICHURIS, TRICHIURA live in large intestine. Adult worm are found attached to the wall of cecum, less commonly in appendix or colon. Morphology of the TRICHURIS, TRICHIURA. This figure shows the male and the female. The male worm is about 30 to 45 millimeter long, while the female is slightly larger, as we said before. You can see its shape resembles a whip. The egg has a characteristic appearance, as we can see from this figure. It's brown in color, being bile stained, has a triple shell, the outermost layer of which is stained brown, as you can see in the figure. It's barrel shaped, so it is distinct to TRICHURIS, TRICHIURA. For a life cycle, natural host is man. No intermediate host is required. As we said before, the infective form is the embryonated egg. Adult female worm lives in large intestine, lays egg which are discharged in feces, as we know before. And the mode of transmission, infection occurs in human when the mature embryonated egg containing infective larvae are swallowed in contaminated food or water, as we said before. The egg hatch in small intestine and the larva emerges through the pool of the egg, passes down into the cecum. In about 2 to 3 months, they become mature adult, with the thread-like anterior portion appear in the mucosa. Gravid adult female lays egg, which are discharged in the feces, and the cycle is repeated again and again. In laboratory diagnosis, the main characteristic, as we said before, its egg and its characteristic shape. So in stool examination, we can see barrel-shaped eggs are found. According to degree of infection, egg counts can be less than 10 egg if it is in first infection or light infection, more than 50 per meal if it is heavy infection. There is other ways to detect TRICHURIS, TRICHIURA, like sigmoidoscopy and also blood examination. Treatment: mebendazole is used and albendazole are effective. Prophylaxis we can prevent it by proper disposal of feces, avoiding consumption of unwashed fruit or vegetables. Treatment of infected person is the most important way for prophylaxis. Now we will study Ancylostoma duodenale or hookworm. Ancylostoma duodenale is worldwide distribution. Habitat: adult worm live in small intestine, mostly in the jejunum, less in the duodenum. How can we get infection by Ancylostoma duodenale? A person walks barefooted on soil containing the flariform larva. They penetrate the skin and enter subcutaneous tissue. Most common site is between two dorsum of the foot and the medial aspect of the sole. Rarely infection may take place by the oral route through eating vegetables or fruit, but the larva may penetrate the buccal mucosa to reach the venous circulation and complete their migration via the lungs. Inside the human body, the larvae are colored along the venous circulation to the right side of the heart and to the lungs. Here they escape from the pulmonary capillaries into the alveoli and migrate to the respiratory tract to the pharynx and are swallowed also again, reaching the final destination is the small intestine. And you will see in the next slide the life cycle of Ancylostoma. As we said, definitive host is the human, are the only natural host, no intermediate host also. Infective form is third stage flariform larva. Flariform larva, not the egg. This figure shows the male and female worm of Ancylostoma duodenale. The male worm is smaller than female, as we said before. The posterior end of male is expanded into copulatory bertha, which consists of 3 lobes, as you can see, dorsal and 2 lateral. The egg of a hookworm is oval or elliptical, as you can see, colorless, not bile stained, surrounded by a thin transparent hyaline shell membrane. Okay. Laboratory diagnosis في direct method, demonstration of egg in feces, أو demonstration of adult worm in feces, أو stool culture by Harda-Mori method, أو indirect method by blood examination, microcytic hypochromic anemia and eosinophilia, or stool examination to demonstrate the presence of oculate blood and Charcot-Leyden crystals, or by X-ray to chest. The treatment also albendazole and parenteral palmate. Thiabendazole is less effective in these cases. Treatment of hookworm disease also include relief of anemia, so we must supply with iron supplementary to compensate anemia. Prophylaxis, prevention of soil pollution with feces and the proper disposal of night soil and use of sanitary regulation, as we said before.